Welcome back. Peru is under a nationwide state of emergency this hour as authorities try to quell deadly political protests. Supporters of former President Pedro Castillo are demanding his release in early elections, as well as the resignation of Peru's new president. Castillo, if you remember, was impeached and arrested last week after he tried to dissolve Congress. Today, the Supreme Court is considering whether to extend his detention, while Congress is discussing a possible date for new elections. Rafael Romo is following all these developments for us from CNN Center in Atlanta and joins me now. Rafael, great to see you. Let's talk about this state of emergency first. Is that going to make any difference? Because it's not just about Castillo here, isn't it? It's much bigger than this now.
Yeah, that's definitely true, Isa. And this is the hope of the new president, Dina Boluarte, who is doing everything she can to try to bring the situation under control, because it's been chaotic for the last week or so. And Isa, a hearing to determine whether former President Castillo remains behind bars for 18 months started earlier today, but was adjourned, and it is now scheduled to resume at 5 p.m. local time. It's been more than a week since he was impeached and arrested, and the country remains in turmoil, even after the government declared Wednesday a state of emergency. As it has been the case for more than a week in Peru, police once again clashed with protesters. This violent protest in Cusco mirrors what has happened across the South American country, including in Lima, the capital.
Se ha acordado declarar en estado de emergencia a todo el país.
Defense Minister Alberto Otárola declared a state of emergency Wednesday that will be in effect for 30 days. He said the national police and armed forces are responding to acts of vandalism, violence, and seizure of roads. Peru's national police had said earlier that highways in at least 4 regions across the country had been blocked by protesters demanding the immediate return to power of former President Pedro Castillo. As you may remember, Castillo was impeached and arrested on December 7 after he announced plans to dissolve Congress and install an emergency government. He was apparently trying to get ahead of a congressional vote on his impeachment. Castillo is accused of conspiracy and rebellion. He denies those allegations.
Legalmente,
Dina Boluarte, who was Castillo's vice president and succeeded him after his impeachment, said Wednesday that it is technically possible to call for new elections by the end of next year, even though Peruvians are not scheduled to go to the polls until 2026. National police were deployed to Lima's international airport, which, according to a spokeswoman, is operating normally. However, some regional airports remain closed. This means that many international tourists are stuck without a connecting flight to the capital and must stay in Peru for now. Train service between Machu Picchu and Cusco was disrupted due to deadly protests, leaving dozens of tourists stranded at the Inca citadel. A political crisis has gripped Peru for years. Boluarte, who took over after the ousting of Pedro Castillo, is Peru's 6th president in less than 5 years.
And Rafael, a question that really stood out as I was watching that piece is, given the outrage, the anger, why not call elections sooner? Why wait longer than this?
Yeah, that's the very same question that was asked to the new president, Dina Boluarte, who, as you may remember, was Castillo's vice president. And what she said is that she has to stick by the rule of law, and the law currently says that elections are to be called in 2026. However, she said that technically it is possible to do early elections, but it would have to be at the end of next year, so end of 2023. And this would be elections not only to choose a new president, but also to choose a new Congress, which, as you know, in Peru, is probably the most hated institution, politically speaking, Isa.
Yeah, and why so many are also protesting, not just about Castillo, but also about Congress too. We'll see, of course, what happens in the months ahead. Thanks very much, Rafael Romo there.